necessarily. So if I go here, well, that did work okay. But if they're kind of stubborn, then what you want to do is you want to go ahead and you want to tell it, you know, I want this to be, see how they kind of find each other as I move it down? As I move the dimensions up or down, I can actually have them find each other. And in this case, they're not really lined up the way they should be because this one still needs a dimension. So I'm going to go with aligned on this one just to show you how you can use either. Click here, click there, boom. And you notice there's an intelligence. As I drag it up here, watch what happens. As I drag it up, I could click here, I could click here, I could click here, I could click here, but why do that when it, like a magnet, gets pulled in? See that? I just pull it up and I click. Boom, done. Now, at that point, all of your different features in Revit kind of act the same way. They have a magnetic property to them. So if I grab this dimension and pull it up, it also wants to line itself up. So I just go ahead and grab these, and as I click on it, and after I click on it, if I hold my cursor off it and put it on, see that arrow? Does anyone know what that arrow is? Well, does this look familiar from AutoCAD? What do you think it does? It moves, yeah. These are not trick questions, okay? All right, I'm not throwing any curveballs at you. It looks like the move icon because it moves it. So we click on it and we drag it into position. All right, you guys can do this. And I go ahead and do this and I drag this into position. Now they're all aligned. They look really good. There's no problem there. Nothing is wrong. So that is a very cool looking floor plan. It's really looking good so far. So now we got those dimensions, and those dimensions can either be displayed or not displayed depending upon what we want to do. So now we're going to move, and we went ahead and put in those two doors. Now we've got the next thing, which is going to be the actual exterior doors. So let's look at those. Number 3. What's that? I'm sorry, what?
Number 2 tag.
Oh, you're right, you're right. And I can actually tell it to put on tags, but since this has already been used, basically what happens is when you're in a template, I didn't reset the counters, and so you're going to go in and edit these one by one. Okay, so that's just part of what it is. Thank you, though. So I go back to tag, and I go ahead and drag it and touch this, and it automatically now knows it's number 2. I set the counter back to 1, now it's going to be 2. So I click here, and it's got this annoying line here. Does my drawing, does the printout you have that annoying line? So what do? We click on it, and we click on this. Actually, I want to get this. And then we go here, and what's this called? A leader line. We get rid of it, and that's not there. And then we click on this, and then we, by the way, notice what's happening here. I'm holding my cursor, it's like, oh man, Revit sucks, you know, I can't get this. Well, just hang on a second. Sometimes you just got to kind of pull the cursor out a little bit till it understands what you want. So you have to watch your highlighting in Revit. So I go here, and then I can just go ahead and see a little move icon. And then we just go ahead, I'm just using my arrow keys because they're easier to place them. So I just go ahead and move it down here, right in there, and we're good to go. All right? So that is how we place that. Thank you for the reminder about that. So now we got door 1 and door 2, and we're looking good. The next thing we want to do is we want to put in our overhead doors. So looking at our door elevation, our door schedule rather, you've got 3 and 4. Now in 3 or 4, are they 2 different kinds of doors? No, they're the same. And they're door garage embossed panel, 108 by 84. So let's see if I've got those. And I get a door, and I hit this drop down here, and I've got door garage embossed panel, and I want 108 by 84, not 96. So I'm going to go ahead and drag this over here, and I'm going to go ahead and just drop it kind of arbitrarily. Now once I've dropped it, okay, you're going to notice a couple things here. I want to show you something here because this is actually important. I'm going to click here because it's actually oriented wrong. It's going outside the building. And those are supposed to be the roller tracks. So what I want to do is I want to hit my space bar. How did it do it that way? Oh, I can use these. I'm sorry. I can flip it this way. I flip it that way, now it's going in. Now, a couple things going on here. If you take a look at your plan, you got to kind of look in pretty carefully. I'm going to turn the lights on so you can see a little better. Okay, as you take a look at your plan, you're going to notice that the actual lines that we have for dimensions for these overhead doors are coming from the inside of the door. And if you take a look at what I've got on the screen, those are coming from the outside of the trim. You see what's going on there? You see how there's a slight difference? Please take a look and notice. It's kind of subtle. But if you take a look at the printout on page A1, do you see how the 2-foot dimension at the top comes from the outside to the bottom of the wall? And that's actually coming to the inside of the trim. So that's actually not quite right. So what it's measuring, let me tell you what it's measuring. If I go to edit type, it tells me something here. What it tells me is, and this is the way these doors come in. The width of the door is 9 foot, but the rough width is what? 9'2". So I've got to recognize that's giving me an extra inch on the other side. So I have to make sure I dimension the right spot, and I'll show you how to do that. Not hard to do. You just got to know what to look for. So what's happening right now is this is not where I want it to be. So I could do a couple things. I could go ahead and hit this. Now that's right. That's going to the outside of the building. This is not. Let's see if I can get it to go. Nope. It's doing this. Boy, that's frustrating. You know? Okay, this, oh man, okay, there it is. Oh, it's in the wrong place again. Okay, so how do we fix that? Well, let me show you our friend on the Annotate tab, Align. If I go to Align here, I can actually touch it here, and I can go right to where I want it to go, which is actually on this side of it, right there. And I go ahead and drag it out. See how that is where I want it to be? Do you see that? It's coming to the inside of this. Do you see that now? Do you see the difference? The other one's going here, okay? So you want to make sure that you're getting it to the right spot. Now, that I have that correct, what does this distance need to be? It's got to be 2 feet, so 2 enter. I'll try it again. All right. That became a dimension. Oh, okay, that's because that became a dimension. Okay, let me do this then. Let me see if I can do this. Oh, I'm just going to do this way. Okay, let's see here. So that, okay, let me go. Yeah, that's one little step ahead there. Let me do this here. Let me get these dimensions on here by going here and try this one here. Okay, that's how we can define the dimension. Then let's see. Let me get a temporary dimension right there. Okay, so we've got this right here. And you can also kind of take your temporary dimensions and you can do that. And that's going 24 feet. I'm just going to pull this down here. I think I can. And okay, that's finding it there. And the only one is going right to here. Yeah, there it is. Okay, so let me do that. So I let it go there. That's where I want it to be. Okay, so sometimes you got to take these dimensions and kind of pull them around a little bit. So I got that. I'm going to click on it, and that's got to be what? 2. Hit enter. Okay, don't look the wrong way. Let's try that again. Okay, so the wall is here. Oh, let me try it this way too. It's finding that 20 feet. Okay, let's go in this direction here. Drop that this way. Okay, let's see. Let's see if I can get that. Okay, now that's finding that dimension. Let's see if I can get it to be 2 feet now. Nope. Just expand it, make it too big. So let's see here. Okay, keep that through there. Let's see here. So let's see here. Okay.
Even though you locked that dimension on the left, it still moved it.
Oh, the dimension's permanent. In other words, it's going to continue to show you the measurement of what that wall is. So when the wall moved, it tells you it was 24 feet. Now it's what it is now.
Okay.
So that's what happens.
I
So
just
it's
thought
permanent.
once you locked that in, that it couldn't change that.
No, that did not do that. Now let me. Okay, let's see. I don't want to do it this way. Let's see here. Let's see. I can do that. I can do this. Which should be okay. All right, that did that. That's cool. And let's go ahead and put that there. Okay, that's there. Okay, so those are where I should. Okay, and then yeah.
Just the dimension of the door.
This supposed to be 9 foot. This supposed to be 9 foot. Let me go back here and say that changed. Boy, this is not sparing cabinets, is it? Let's go back to there. And because there's more than one way to skin this particular cat here. We'll go back to the door. And door, and we'll go ahead And then I'm going to, I'll go back to that in a minute.